Hello UEA, welcome to our next general election interview where I'll be posing your questions to the Liberal Democrat candidate for Norwich South, Bennett. Let's go have a chat. Well, Sean, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Firstly, you're a really graduate.
I am indeed,
What did
yeah.
you study here?
International relations and politics, about 5 or 6 years ago now. But yeah, I know the campus very well. It's very nice to be sitting here in uni area, fighting the urge to get my moral order. But yeah, no,
Perfect, thank you. So to begin with, we've just got a couple of questions we ask all of our candidates. So firstly, just tell us a bit about what's motivating yourself to stand as a Liberal Democrat.
yeah. So as we were discussing before the camera started, I studied politics here and have always been quite involved in politics. Come from quite a political family. But during my time here at UEA, I knew that was the direction I wanted to go. But I took a couple of years to kind of decide to, read the manifestos, research the party, and try and figure out, where my loyalties lay and where I feel most comfortable. And I think there's a number of things that obviously I agree with the Democrats. I think our approach to the environment is a very good balance between treating it as seriously whilst also understanding the impact it has on people. I think our approach to the NHS and public services, I think, are reasonable and again progressive enough to actually make a difference. A key thing for me though was as a gay man myself, the Liberals were pretty much the only party I felt I could trust to stand up for myself and the other members of the LGBT+ community. I think we've seen a lot of U-turning and a lot of pandering to the right wing from some of the other parties. And yeah, I think it was a party where I felt most comfortable.
So the rest of our questions are direct from the students, range across a few different topics. Our first student asks, I don't really know what your party stands for. Most of your members and voters are A plus, and we can't seem to decide whether you're a progressive left party or a centrist down status quo party. With many young people looking for something other than the two parties, therefore, what vision do you and your party face and voters?
First time I've heard our party described as a centrist party. It's a very nice turn of phrase. I think the Liberal Democrats, like a lot of parties, have gone through a number of sort of identity changes over the past. I think now we find ourselves very firmly in that centre-left sort of progressive camp. I think especially given that the Labour Party is sort of straying further and further to the right from their sort of traditional position. I really do think that the Liberal Democrats are increasingly becoming the centre-left choice in British politics. I think we can offer first-time voters a very clear programme on social issues. I think we are among the parties that have taken the strongest stance on the conflict in Israel-Gaza. We have taken by far the strongest stance on protecting trans rights. We have always taken strong stances on minority rights, women's rights, LGBT rights. It's a huge part of what we do as part of it. I think outside of those social issues, I think, as I said, to the first question, our approaches to fixing the NHS, fixing public transport, fixing energy and water are progressive in that they want to make sure that these services are working for the people. But I think the Liberal Democrats thread the needle quite nicely of not being too heavy-handed in considering the Council of Experts and the impact it will have for all the people involved and making sure that it choose the best options for the most people. So I think we can offer first-time voters stability. I think we can be trusted to do the right thing for as many stakeholders as possible, not just to select few, as I think sometimes the main part of it.
Now, much of your party's manifesto focuses on the environment, particularly privately owned water companies. With this in mind, our next student asks, you pledge to transform water companies into public benefit companies. What does this mean in practice, and how will it start pursuing?
So public benefit companies are a very interesting kind of halfway house between privatised industry and the nationalised industry. By something being a public interest company, government can hold into account and mandate them to meet certain requirements for protecting the environment, for the way they treat their workers, in much the same way that we would be able to do if the business or the industry is in public ownership. One thing that we do avoid, however, with public interest businesses versus nationalisation is a fairly large cost being passed on to the taxpayer. The Liberal Democrats are not staunchly against nationalisation. We never have been. But we are also very aware of the financial situation that we have been left in after the Labour government a while ago and now 14 years Conservative government. And so I think this is a good middle ground to go for, where we can ensure that these companies are meeting the requirements that we want them in place, requirements that they can effectively ignore if they are fully private, without taking a rather large expense to the Treasury, which will then get passed on to the taxpayer. In terms of stopping the sewage dumping, we have a number of really things that we want to do. So we want to ban bonuses for the water company bosses until the situation is solved. At the moment there are fines being put in place, but these fines are being treated as just part of the cost of running a business. Clearly that's not working. So we want to really apply some restrictions to them to solve the problem. And we also want to replace the current regulator with a new regulator which has much stronger powers to bring water companies under control and bring an end to the sewage crisis.
So it's largely a legal standpoint from the government's perspective. You can legally say to these companies, okay, you're not meeting a certain standard, solicitor the public, and you can fine them for that, or
so there's a number of things. As I said, we talked about public interest companies as well. The public interest companies allow us to apply more of those rules and actually back them up with enforcement. And then we've got the additional aspect of stronger fines, banning bonuses, a new regulator that can actually step in a lot more easily. The main tool of politicians to solve problems like this is changes to the law. MPs are legislators at the end. And so yes, I think the primary sort of function that we have is a legal one. But there are plenty of middle ground to go for, where we can ensure that these companies are meeting the requirements that we want them in place, requirements that they can effectively ignore if they are fully private, without taking a rather large expense of the Treasury, which will then get passed on to the taxpayer. In terms of stopping the sewage dumping, we have a number of really things that we want to do. So we want to ban bonuses for the water company bosses until the situation is solved. At the moment there are fines being put in place, and these fines are being treated as just part of the cost of running a business. Clearly that's not working. So we want to really apply some restrictions to them to solve the problem. And we also want to replace the current regulator with a new regulator which has much stronger powers.
Right, here is two words that I'm sure every lived loves to hear. Tuition fees.
Yeah.
We all pay them, at least most of us take on a substantial amount of debt during our time here. So this student asks, why should anyone trust your party with higher education after you stood on such a bold platform to abolish tuition fees back in 2010, only to abandon the pledge in months of going into government with the
Yeah, I mean, as you rightly point out, it's something that we get asked a lot as Liberal Democrats, and it's a perfectly reasonable question for that. The truth is, we made a mistake. I think most Liberal Democrats will happily own up to that. I think just like in any other part of life, politicians have to learn in their mistakes. I think we have been suitably punished the election immediately after the coalition, we were all but decimated. And we have worked incredibly hard over the last decade and a half to try and rebuild some of that trust in the work that we do locally and the work we've done in Parliament. I think that was definitely a failure of our ability to negotiate and put forward our stances in that coalition government. But I do think that we did some good things in that coalition as well. And if I can take credit for the introducing same-sex marriage, we had to fight to make sure that happened. We stopped them from doing an awful lot of the economic damage that they have now done in the intervening years. As part of the coalition, you have to pick up some things to make sure other things happen. I think we've got our priorities and that's wrong. We pushed so hard in the campaign, tuition fee is going to be a main point, and then we sacrificed it. I think the other things we did were worthwhile, and I think they did make the country better. But I fully understand why, after a campaign of that size, people saw the tuition fees as kind of the main policy. And we failed, and we made a mistake, and I think the British public did absolutely right to punish us for it. But the policies we set out for higher education, further education, and the education in general in our manifesto are fully costed, they are progressive, they are into the country meanings. And I think we've proven over the last few years that we're a different party. We will never go into coalition with the Conservatives again, or certainly there's no appetite to do that, I can guarantee you that. And we're now focused on, as an individual party, pushing forward those liberal and progressive policies from wherever in the House of Commons we sit. And we will continue trying to prove our trustworthiness to the public beyond this general election, and in the years and decades to come, it will be up to them to decide if we can retain their trust.
So specifically on trust issues, is there anything to say to students?
So we want to reverse the cuts to maintenance grants that were brought in by the Conservatives. We do want to continue on that path of making sure that the money or the financial situation is not a barrier to university, or indeed higher and further education of any kind. We do also want to see more support for universities. I think the pandemic was a huge issue for that sector. I'm sure people have noticed that our manifesto does not say that we want to remove tuition fees in both time, manpower, and charges, customs charges in a lot of businesses, allowing them to lower their prices. We want to make sure that energy bills go down by investing heavily in green energy, making sure that houses can be retrofitted with government support with solar panels. Not only will that bring down costs in the home itself, it might actually give people some extra money. We want to set a fair baseline for how much people get for selling energy back to the grid. So in terms of saving that 5%, I think the building and housing is one aspect of the housing crisis, but we have a whole range of things that we want to do to try and get the economy, cost of living crisis, and prices under control. This will take time, there's no question about that, which is why we have, unlike some of the other parties, we've said we're not going to completely scrap line supply, for example. We're going to put it in the hands of local authorities. Local authorities that have little to no social housing can staff it. So if we have enough to be able to sell some of them, we would like them to keep it, to make it easier for people to buy that first house. We do think that's important. It's an incredibly complex issue.
So we have taken a game-level approach to this issue.
Absolutely.
Anything specifically to student housing?
So we, specifically for students, we have a range of things we want to make to renting, and some specific to students as well. Like some of the other parties, we need to scrap the Sector 21 eviction notices. Being chucked out of your homes with a landlord wants it back is simply not a good enough reason. We also want to introduce a form of rent caps to make sure that students especially are not being overcharged to try and get them to move out. Longer basic tenancy agreements The one thing I would say for adults and why they again instead of agree is, it's the Liberal Democrats have a long history, the public council for some time, we've had Norwich South for Parliament. We have a presence in your city, and I think we do incredible work in the city as well. And it's looking like the Lib Dems are on track to fairly significant number of votes, probably be the third party. Some polls even say potentially the second party, though I'm not too sure how likely this is. So I think a vote for the Liberal Democrats, wherever you are in the country, is a vote for a party that is very much getting back into its position as one of the main parties. And the primary opponent to that two-party system. I think there are lots of small parties, the Greens and the Reforms and others, who share our discontent two-party system. But the Liberal Democrats are the ones who are the closest to being threatened. And so I would say if that's the reason for your protest vote, I think a vote for the Lib Dems increasing that national vote share for us is going to put us in a stronger and stronger position to really hold the two main issues regardless of the things in government, and show that there is disquiet and discontent across the country. So I think that would be what I would say to us.
Okay, great. That's all the questions from our students. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching our interview with Sean. Be sure to subscribe to our new YouTube channel for other election interviews.